Today we'll begin with a new chapter, that is chapter 31, Supreme Power of Chastity. And this is in continuation with the yesterday's last chapter about Savitri losing her husband, and then Gurunath, who's come in the disguise of a sannyasi, is comforting her. And once he comforts her, then Savitri asks the Gurunath, saying what is that dharma she has to follow now that her husband has passed away. Chapter 31, Supreme Power of Chastity. This chapter deals with Pativrata Dharma, the duties and disciplines for a married woman. Very good morning. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Shri Guru Charitra Satsang. Wishing you all a very happy Friday. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Guru Charitra Satsang. Siddha Muni continued with the narrative to Namdharak. Savitri, after having calmed down a little, requested the Tapasvi to tell her about the duties of a woman in family life and also her duties after she is widowed. She wanted him to give her guidance and enlighten her on Stri Dharma and Achar, that is, the duties and code of conduct for women. Thereupon, the Tapasvi narrated the following. Once there lived in the city of Kashi the great Agastya Rishi. His wife's name was Lopamudra. She was like Anusuya in her chastity and was the most ideal wife. Agastya was renowned for his austerities and for his spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and prowess. Once Narad Rishi paid a visit to the mountain king Vindhyachal. Narad Rishi praised Vindhyachal for his great qualities. He, however, added that the Meru mountain, the king of the Himalayas, though inferior to the Vindhya in its grandeur, yet because of its height is ranked as superior and is called the sovereign of mountains. Vindhyachal took it to heart and then started growing taller and taller, almost touching the skies like the Meru mountain. The result of this was that sunlight was not reaching the southern region, plunging it into darkness. People were not able to perform their nitya vidhis, daily rituals and oblations to the deities, and thereby Indra and other gods were deprived of daily offerings which people have to make. The gods therefore, along with the rishis, approached Brahmadeva and prayed to him to find a remedy for this. If Nitya Vidhis are not performed, it will disturb the harmony in the cosmos and evil will befall the people and the world. Brahmadeva advised them to go to the Agastya Rishi and request him to do something in the matter. As Vindhyachal was a disciple of Agastya Rishi and was greatly devoted to him. See, in this, who is the one who is instigating Vindhyachal? It is Narad Muni. What is Narad's job? It's to play one against the other. He's always doing, like my Krishna Guruji will use the word, it's Kala Kandi. It's a Hindi word, which means you just go and, provoke and you just disturb certain things. Not because they want something bad, but everything is done for the good alone. There is a very important reason why these plays are enacted, why they do certain things. So that something has to be established, some good has to happen, and it is also to impart certain lessons to everybody in this universe. Indra and the rishis came to Agastya ashram at Kashi. They explained to him the plight of the southern regions. Agastya agreed to help them in the matter. Agastya went to Vindhyachal. Seeing his guru, master Vindhyachal, bent down to offer his obeisance to the guru. Agastya said that he was going on a pilgrimage to some of the holy places in the southern region, and he, Vindhyachal, should remain in the same position till he returned. Vindhyachal said he would be happy to do whatever command his guru would give him. Agastya crossed over to the south, thereby opening the blockway for the sun. Agastya saved the gods thus and also restored the well-being and prosperity of the southern region and its people. What does it also mean? When you bow down, it represents that you are surrendering your ego at the lotus feet of your Gurudev. When we say we want to grow tall, 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 what is that talks about? It talks about ego, arrogance, and pride. But when we bow down, we humbly surrendered at the lotus feet of the Guru. That is the most important. Here it is talking also about the ego. One cannot have this ego that I have to become greater than someone, I have to become superior to someone. Initially, when my Guruji found me and I came into spiritual, he started to understand what is that I am seeking. And at that time he wanted to know how does my mind work, what are my aspirations, and what is it I'm looking for. The gurus do test you, the gurus do evaluate you. At that time, I was telling, I want to be the highest disciples and devotees of my Krishna Guruji. There cannot be anybody in this universe who can love Lord Shri Krishna the way I would love, that way I will love him. That was my ego, not understanding what it means to be humble. At that time, yes, you don't have an idea. We are all thinking, I want to be the greatest, I want to be the most powerful, I want to be the richest. Those are all the egos, because we don't understand life, we don't understand the spiritual truth. And I forget about all that. I told him, you know what, I want to be ahead of everybody. I want to be a number one student. I want all the knowledge. Can you fast forward for me everything? It is so cute. My Gurudev, my Guruji did not even start my spiritual journey until 2014 Jan. Till the time, all he did was breaking my ego, my pride, and my arrogance, which believed or which said, I want to be the highest, I want to be the greatest, I want to be ahead of everybody. That is your ego talking. Knowledge is not got with ego and arrogance. Knowledge is received with humility, with humbleness, not because you want to show your superiority over somebody else, but because truly you want to learn and evolve on the path of spiritual and attain your spiritual will, not to show one up against the other, showing that you're superior to someone else. That is not why knowledge has to be received, or you want to prove to someone. What happens here? The moment Narad Muni told Vindhyachal, even though Vindhyachal is superior, but just because of Mount Meru being the tallest, he is recognized as he's ranked as superior and is called the sovereign of mountains. The moment Vindhyachal heard this, of course his ego came into play. And then what did he do? He started growing taller and taller and taller. And what does his Gurudev does? His Gurudev says, do not get up. The moment Vindhyachal bows down unto the lotus feet of his Gurudev, he says, just be in the same position. It means you have to humble your pride. Knowledge is got with humility and humbleness, not with ego and arrogance. And the knowledge is not to show your superiority over someone else. The knowledge is, you receive or you want to learn that knowledge so that you can overcome the ignorance. You can cut asunder the ignorance and chuck that knowledge also, and then evolve, go beyond the three gunas, the knowledge, everything, and transcend the three gunas and the Maya, and attain the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna with humility and humbleness, and most important, with absolute love and devotion. That is what you are getting this knowledge for, not because of anything else. You're not here to compare yourself with someone else. You're not here to compare yourself with somebody is getting that, I am not getting that. We are not here to compare with anybody. And this is one important lesson which my Krishna Guruji imparted. He said, Rajma, you should learn, not because you want to prove your superiority over somebody, but truly because you want to learn. You want to understand the subject and you want to go deeper in it. It should be your passion to know more. It is not about showing to someone else that you're greater. When somebody says something to us or somebody says bad things to us, we take it to our heart. We think that somebody's comparing to us. And exactly my Krishna Guruji does this. This is a method, this is a way to teach you. They are not trying to compare you with someone else. This is a wrong understanding that we have. In fact, it has taken me many years to understand this truth. And then my Krishna Guruji taught me one day, I do not give examples about someone else so that I want to make you feel small or put you down. And this is the word I used to use to you are putting me down. You're trying to compare me to someone else. But that is not why he does that. He's giving an example so that he says you can do better than that. You can become the best of who you are. So he's not about comparison. In fact, in many years ago, someone told right in front of my Krishna Guruji that you are not a leader, I don't want to work with you, all those things. But who is somebody to make judgments about me? You think that person is some great qualified leader? No, everybody has an opportunity to become that. It is my effort or who I want to be, and it is my grace of my Guruji who will impart and give me that knowledge for me to become whoever I have to become in this world. And nobody can stop me from getting that knowledge or that lesson or wherever I have to go. It is my effort, it is my life, it is my path. So who is someone else to make judgments about me? So people are there who's going to make judgments about you. Like many a time, yes, this human nature is such that we all make judgments about the person just by looking at them. The moment we see them, we try to make judgments. And that is why my Krishna Guruji will always keep saying, do not judge anyone because you don't know them. Why do we judge? That is the nature of the mind. That is what you have to overcome. This spiritual knowledge is given so that we do not commit that thing. Why it is so difficult for us not to do or refrain from judging someone is because we have been used to like that. We have let our mind rule our life for so many years. And when the Guru comes, he's now trying to undo all your vrittis, your tendencies, and he's teaching you how to overcome your mind, how to conquer your 6 inner enemies, which we have studied in day before yesterday's chapter. Likes, dislikes, envy, jealousy, pride, avarice, all those things, ego, you name it. We are not here to judge anybody. Why should we judge? Anger? Why? Why are we thinking that somebody is getting, I'm not getting? So this is how my Guru works actually, exactly how this Narad Muni went and said. And my Guruji's way of doing these things is very beautiful. He'll use the same method so that he can light that fire in your belly, so that you have to feel, no, I want to achieve, not because he wants you to compete with somebody, but that fire has to be there. So how will he light that fire in you so that you go ahead? So he uses methods like this. And these are small methods because he understands the fallible human nature. So he uses people, he uses situations, everything so beautifully to teach you that lesson so that you can do something about your life. That is what he does every single day. It is all about lessons. I'll tell you some very interesting thing. When I came to my Krishna Guruji, I've been known for doing. I'm a doer. I've even received back in my career in one of my stints in one of the companies where they said it is Rajashree's model, which means she makes the impossible possible. Go to her, she will always find a solution. And when I came to my Krishna Guruji, I was raring. I was saying, I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you. So many things I said. But that was said with this thing about I. Who is this I? The moment you use this word I, you cannot do anything. Even today, the moment I say certain things in front of my Krishna Guruji, I'm unable to do this. The lesson is still not entering me because I blabber, I talk a lot. That is what is not, you have to refrain. This is the hard lessons. You have to just do and show. The moment you utter something in front of your master, you're exactly not going to do that. It has taken me 12 years and I've still not understood this lesson because I keep committing. See, why does the master allow me to make those mistakes? Because I have to learn the hard way. Till I don't get that hard-hitting lessons, I am never going to change. So some lessons are, it's very hard to learn, and it takes 12 years and I'm still learning it. Can you believe? That is how that is how spirituality is all about. And that long it takes. It not necessarily it's 12 years, it can be even 50 years. We don't know. You just don't know. And if you die by the time, then you have to come back again in some other birth where you have to meet your guru and continue from where you stopped. So these are hard hitting lessons, they are life lessons. What does the guru do? He removes this material worldly imperfections and gives you an understanding and perfects your spiritual knowledge. This is what the guru does. But removing that material worldly imperfection itself is a long drawn process. We still believe this is the way it is because it is our way. We have never understood how the world operates. That is our fault because we have never been given this knowledge. Not by our parents, grandparents, teachers. Today nobody has that knowledge. Everybody just goes by the bookish knowledge or curriculum. That's all they have been taught. So you can't even blame them because they have themselves not learned and nobody has made an effort to learn. But today you and I are lucky because we have our guru in our life, and those at least who are listening to the satsangs and who are seeking, they have the grace, and somewhere that knowledge will come. When you seek, you will get. That's why it is said, when you seek, you can even find God. But seeking is very important. So when my Krishna Guruji, and when he did this, that time it was a puncture. It's a puncture on my ego. It was a blow to my ego, which I couldn't take it. I was horrified. It has taken me a long time to understand and get out of that. And even today, the ego comes. See, when you least expect it, the ugly ego rises in you. And that is when you have to be extremely careful about. You have to be very vigilant. You have to be aware as to what is happening within you. What is your mind trying to cook over there? It's always waiting for an opportunity for the ugly ego to rise, and then your fall is imminent. So be very careful and be very conscious about what you're doing. And sometimes we end up doing so unconsciously because the mind is acting in you. You don't even know you're doing certain things. And that is the truth about this human body. And then the guru uses these qualities, the method, these whatever that associations are around him and around you, to give you that knowledge. So it is not about comparison. So please understand, you have to become the best version of yourself. Well, where is the question of you comparing to another person? Oh, that person has, I don't have. But you're not that person. You have not been granted that person's life. So why are you trying to feel jealous or trying to compare yourself? Please remember, everybody is perfect in their places. The guru, the great master, the divine being knows what to give you. And he will teach you that much which is required for you to evolve in your life. So don't ask out of turn and don't think you need to learn everything. We have this very wrong idea. The moment we meet our guru, the first thing we'll ask is, I want to learn everything. I want to master all the subject. Like, in one of the lessons, we also learned that how Bharadwaj Rishi was telling, please, he said, Brahmadeva, grant me, give me the expansion of my life to million years or eons so that I can master the Veda. And then Brahmadev gave him an experience. Who can master Veda? And he, imagine the splendorous mountains of Vedas that came about, and how vast is that. And in that, he picked up just 3 books, small books. Even that Bharadwaj Rishi was not able to master it. This is the truth. And how can you think we can learn anything and we want to conquer, we want to feel superior about somebody? So never have this ego. Ego is dangerous, and most important, there are people with that knowledge. Okay, there's another danger also. The ego of knowledge is also very dangerous. You know why? When you have the knowledge, then you think you're mighty pleased. You think, I have the knowledge, I am the greatest. And you know what happens? Then your fall is imminent. And that is why, to attain Lord Shri Krishna, there are only 2 words you have to go with, which is love and devotion. You have to chuck that knowledge also that you learn. You can't go to him and say, I know. And that is the reason why everything that I told my Guruji, I failed to do. I couldn't do. Why? Because I said, I can do this, I can do that. He wanted to break that ego in me. It's the ego that has to be destroyed. Who are you to do? You're just an instrument. This is the understanding that has to dawn. And then I realized many years later, and there was a very beautiful lesson from Ramayana I read in one of the articles. And in that, Hanuman and Sri Ram and Lakshmana had come back. So when Lakshmana had he was hurt and he was unconscious. and he had not eaten his food during that period. And what happened was, no, Hanuman went in. He was supposed to get that herb. I forgot the name of the herb, but since he didn't know which herb it was, he lifted that entire mountain and he carried so that he could save Lakshmana from dying. Then afterwards, what had happened, for the period that he laid unconscious, he had not eaten his meals, and those meals were kept somewhere. And so when Sri Ram was telling Lakshmana, what did you do and who ate for you, it was his Lakshmana's wife who was eating on behalf of Lakshman. So she was, she ate for him as well, for her husband, so that he could be alive, he could stay healthy. And then Sri Ram says, can you go lift that, can you bring that food, lift that mountain and come over? And that time Hanuman says, oh, I was able to lift that entire mountain, when I have to get that herb for you. What difficult it is. That was what? Ego. He spoke in arrogance. And then when Hanuman went over there to lift that mountain, he was not able to. He was aghast. He was like, what is this? I'm the powerful. I'm the Vayu Putra. How can I not be able to lift it? And then he realized, oh my God, it is my Sri Ram who humbling my pride. The moment you say, oh, what big deal, I can do anything. That is ego. When you bring your ego, you cannot learn. That power will not rest within you. You will not be able to perform that action. So we cannot show our ego. And then Sri Ram says to Lakshmana, now you go and bring it and come. Then Lakshmana was able to lift that and come over. So this was the truth. And then that day when I learned this lesson, when I studied this story, it hit me really hard. Why I was not able to do something is because I opened my mouth, my big mouth, and say things to my Guruji, saying I can do this, I can do that. But in reality, I'm not able to do a single thing because of my ego. So you don't talk, you just have to do. This lesson is it's a lesson for everybody. It's just not me. But in 12 years, I'm still, finding it hard to imbibe this lesson because the ego is so strong. It can come to anyone. The knowledge of ego itself also is very dangerous. Oh, I know spiritual knowledge. No, never ever say that. Please remember, nobody can understand. This body is mere an instrument. The words are of my Krishna Guruji's wisdom. This body is not capable of even expounding, giving exposition on such esoteric subjects. Of course not. This body has no knowledge. This is just a tool. It is the divine being who works through this body. The words are of his wisdom alone. And when you have humility and humbleness, and then when you surrender unto the lotus feet of the Gurudev, that is when your progress can happen. That is when the fructification of knowledge will happen within you. And then you will be able to apply that knowledge. Not till then. There are two different things in spiritual. One is, first you have been taught. Second is you have to practice, you have to do your sadhana, you have to try to find out, you have to go deeper. All these things have to be done. And then there is a time, once you have evolved, the fructification of knowledge will happen only with the grace of the Guru. Until then you cannot. And that happens when you become humble, completely egoless. You like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji says, I need to retain that little ego. It's like a burnt rope. My ego is completely burnt. It's only, it just left that mark, the rope. It looks like that. There is, that rope still exists, but when you touch, it turns into ashes. But that little ego you have to retain so that you can love your divine. You cannot then say, oh, I am that. Doesn't mean then you become an egoistic being again. You need to retain that, ego, so that you have to always bow down to your Gurudev, your God. You cannot say you're greater than them, no matter who you are. Like my Krishna Guruji, there is no difference between Lord Dattatreya and my Krishna Guruji. They are one and the same. But yet, my Guruji will revere his Guru. He gives him that highest position so that we always respect, because his Gurudev has taught him in this birth and in the form of Parshuram and other forms as well. So he has to give him that respect. His Gurudev is the highest. The Gurus always have to be given the due respect. You cannot say, I'm equal to my Guru. Nobody can become equal to their Guru. Please remember, even though my Guruji will say you and there's no difference between you and I, but no, there is a difference. My Gurudev is always above me. I'm always at his feet. I am always below him. That truth you need to understand, and don't have this ego and arrogance. And that is very dangerous, and don't even show your power of knowledge. There are a lot of people in this world who show, I know. Just because God has given you that ability to learn, ability to do some things in the world, don't have to prove. And someone told me once, with the person's ego and arrogance, oh, I told you're good in something. When I was appreciating, this person responds to me and says, oh, I am too good in everything. What am I supposed to do if I'm so good? I said, someday this is going to break. And I don't know when the day is, but it will happen. This is the truth. Nobody with arrogance and ego of that knowledge can ever survive. You can show as much as you want. Yeah, God can be there with you, but please remember, your own ego of arrogance will destroy you. And don't carry that ego of, the ego of knowledge. It will destroy you someday. So the same thing. It goes same thing for power, position, wealth. We cannot misuse. When God has given you that power, that position, and knowledge, everything, it is only to do good in this world, but not for selfish gains and exploitation. But this is why in Kali Yuga, you will find that the destruction happens and nobody is in that position for too long in time. Everybody has to come, that position is there, they exploit, they abuse, they do whatever, and then their fall happens, and then somebody else comes next, and that person also does the same thing. So you have to walk the path of dharma and righteousness. And dharma doesn't mean the dharma where we are talking about right and wrong. It is about what is that you have been commanded by your divine master. That is what you have to do, but always on the path of truth. Truthfulness is what is being taught, not with any self-conceit and deceit. We are not here for all that. We have to be absolute truthful. Even today, my Krishna Guruji has always taught us to speak the truth and say everything the way it is. He's never taught us to be having self-conceit, deceit and all that. So that is very important. So you have to say things in the way it is. It is very, very important. So don't, bring your ego and don't think that you want to learn something. You have to, my Guruji has seen this with all his students. There is not a single student who has not come and done this with him. And he'll give them their lesson in their own way. You will have to eat your own words after that, which is very painful. Let me tell you, it's not easy. But that is all about humbling your pride. So don't show your ego and arrogance, because you're not going to go anywhere in your life. You will still be there. Like from 2009 till 2014, not an iota of word did I ever learn. But when he gave me the scripture on his own, saying, now we'll do this scripture, that is the day the knowledge opened. And since then, there's no looking back. I don't even ask for him that I want to do this, I want to do that. When he has to give, he will give. When the time is right, he will do everything. Why bother about it? Why ask? Why the divine master knows what is right for me, and he will give me that knowledge. How the knowledge comes is none of my business. What I need to learn, how I need to be prepared, how I need to get ahead, he takes care. He knows what to teach me. And I have to only do exactly what he's asking me to do. And that is where there's a fight between the mind and your innermost divinity, where you're not allowing, the mind is never going to allow you to do, because it wants to instigate you against your master, because it doesn't want to listen to orders. That is what happens. So don't allow your mind. Don't let the ego of knowledge, ruin you. So coming back, Vindhyachal said he would be happy to do whatever command his guru would give him. Agastya crossed over to the south, thereby opening the blocked way for the sun. Agastya saved the gods thus, and also restored the well-being and prosperity of the southern region and its people. Agastya Rishi's wife was an example for all women. All the gods and even Brihaspati acclaimed Lopamudra as the peerless and as an ideal woman for all times. She was more powerful than Agastya Muni, you need to know, and she was the guru of Lord Parashuram, Lopamudra. And it is very beautiful. There's a very beautiful story about Agastya Muni, Lopamudra, Parshuram and Lomaharshini. You must go and read the story about Parshuram, and in this all these people have been given, all these people's stories have been mentioned. It is very beautiful. And Lopamudra is supposed to be the most powerful one. She's in fact powerful than Agastya Rishi, and she marries Agastya Rishi. Though Agastya, it's very cute. In that story, Agastya Rishi will not even want to connect with Lopamudra. Lopamudra was very forward thinking, and she approached Agastya Rishi because she was in love with Agastya Rishi. She wanted to marry him, but Agastya Rishi was very clear. He didn't want to, but somehow She was able to convince him and get married. It's a very beautiful story. You can go read about it. And she was more powerful. She was prowess. She was in every aspect. She was far superior than Agastya Rishi. This is the truth. And she was an example for all women. How you need to be that. How you have to empower yourself. How you need to be a go-getter in life. It's not about succumbing. Oh, I don't know this. I don't know that. My life is this. My Krishna Guruji will say a woman is always, she'll give reasons, n number of reasons why she can't do something. Imagine, it's funny. This morning I was not able to wake up. Why? Because my alarm didn't go. Very strange. But yeah, I slept late. I woke up late. Does it mean it's allowed? No, it's not allowed. So who has to get disciplined? I have to train. And what is coming very strong now? My mind is coming extremely strong. It's not allowing me to get up. So how do I fight? I have to put extraordinary effort. That is what my Guruji will say. The demons will get more powerful and you have to evolve, for which you have to fight harder and harder and harder. It's not easy. As you evolve on the path of spiritual, things become tougher as well. And today, the process of spirituality is every single day I'll have some pain in my body somewhere. Oh, today this is paining, tomorrow that is paining, my eyes are burning. As I was coming to do the satsang, my whole eyes started burning like fire. Even now it's burning. But if I give in to it and say, okay, I can't do, I want to go sleep, then I am succumbing to this body's mind. I cannot. These are the things that's going to be coming. But how do you overcome? But faith and grace. Go and do it. Nothing will happen. Am I going to die? No, it's just my eyes is burning. So what happens? Doesn't matter. And today I've accepted the pain to be a part of my life. And when you accept it, then nothing wrong shall befall you. It makes you very strong, but you can't succumb. Don't give in to your mind. And the moment you give in to your mind, you fall down. So this is the whole beauty of evolving on the path of spirituality. It is teaching how to overcome your mind. The pain is only felt in the body. Please remember, it is not the body. The mind feels the pain. The pain is in the mind, because where is the mind? The mind is all over the body. So of course the pain is going to be everywhere. But if you pay attention to that, it is going to hurt you more. But when you just ignore it, then it is not going to be there. So everything is on your mind. And what is that you're being taught here? How to control your mind. It is not about overcoming, it is about controlling your mind. Like Baba also said in one of the beautiful stories in such Charitra, he said that, Malsapati and everybody were sleeping, and then one day Malsapati says, can I also sleep on that, the plank where Baba used to sleep? So he said, somebody who can't control sleep, what makes you think you are capable of sleeping there? Nobody is capable, because we are still succumbing to our sleep. That is tamas. We are not able to overcome. And this is the teaching which Baba also gave Malsapati, where he said, press my leg, and Malsapati was just falling asleep like this. And sorry, I don't know if it's Malsapati or who, but one of his very close devotees. I think it's Malsapati only. So he was like falling asleep like this. So what happens? So Baba is saying, see, this man cannot even control his sleep and he wants to sleep on that plank. No, we are not capable. Why are the gurus capable? Because they are the Parabrahma. They are the divinity themselves. We have to first attain that. Once we attain that, then we'll understand that we are not the body. Today, what is the bottleneck? What is stopping us from that is this body, the attachment to the body. The realization that I am not the body is not there within us. Even though that is the truth which the Guru keeps teaching you right from day one. That is what we have not been able to understand with conviction. The day, like my Krishna Guruji will say, it hits you, that, then you will be able to cross over. You will be able to do everything, not focusing on your body, not paying attention to your body and giving it so much of importance, because this body is just a vehicle. That is why these masters are able to wear themselves out or suffer for everybody else, because they are not the body. So the pain is never felt by them. The body is just going through its motions. That is the truth. So Lopamudra as fearless and as an ideal for women for all times. Now the Tapasvi recounted to Savitri what Brihaspati said to the rishis, describing the duties of married women. Taking the example of Lopamudra, he said, for a woman, the husband himself is God. Service to him should take all priority and precedence in women's duties. The husband should be considered and worshipped as God himself. Husband's Pada Tirtha, that is water used to wash the feet of the husband, is even more sacred for a woman than Vishnu Tirtha. She should never disobey him and should faithfully and faithfully obey all his commands, whatever they be. Okay, I'm going to just make a disclaimer here. This was only for the divine masters, not for some ordinary human beings from Kali Yuga. Your husband's Padatirtha cannot be drunk in today's day and age. So please don't go by this, okay? We are talking about a time when everybody were the sages and the saints, the gods themselves. They are the Rishi Munis. So when you're married, the Rishi Munis, of course, they are the guru, they are the knowers of the Brahma, they are the wise men. So they are the custodians of the Vedas and Shastras. So they are the ones who are doing tapascharya. So you're serving your guru. You're serving your husband, who is your Rishi, as a god alone, which is the truth. That is the case. And so that service is actually going to redeem you. That is equivalent to serving the guru. And you accept your husband to be your guru. That is what you are. You are the guru patni. So that is a very different dharma altogether. Let us not talk about this in today's day and age. It is Kali Yuga. There is no, husband who is equivalent to God. And husband is the chaprasi today in the world. He's like a servant. Sorry for saying this, but that is the truth about life. Let us not think that you can ding some tirtha from the lotus feet of that husband or from the wife. Both are equally bad in today's day and age, because we are in the Kali Yuga. So let's not compare this in today's day and age. Only the real master, when you are with the real spiritual master, can you do this. Yes, in Krishna Ashram, we ding the tirtha of my Gurudev's pada, because that is the highest, purificatory, I don't know what to say, the holy consecrated water. From when you drink that, it purifies your inner being. It makes you desireless. It removes all your tendencies, vasana. You get the DNA of your Gurudev. And that is the reason why we drink the Pada Tirtha. That is the water, which is the holy water, which is washed the feet of the sages, the saints, and the great masters, not some ordinary human being. So there is a different story. So whether it is Agastya Muni, or if you take Anusuya and Atri Muni. Anusuya was again the highest chaste woman. She served Atri Muni. So they attained their spiritual way. They are all the sages and the saints. So you cannot compare this with some ordinary mortal human beings in today's day and age. So that's a disclaimer which I wanted to let you know. So don't think that, I'm going to go worship the lotus feet of my husband and drink the Pada Tirtha. Don't even fool yourself. And same thing goes for your wife as well. Her husband, I'm going to worship the lotus feet of my wife and drink her Pada Tirtha. Both doesn't apply, sir. The husband should be considered and worshipped as God himself. Again, we're talking about divine being, not some ordinary human being. Husband's Pada Tirtha, the water used to wash the feet of the husband, is even more sacred for the woman than Vishnu Tirtha. She should never disobey him and should faithfully and respectfully obey all his commands, whatever they be. All the household duties will have to be faithfully discharged, and all Shastric injunction like Atiti Puja, etc. are to be done by the wife to bring a good name to the husband. She should respect and serve her husband's parents as her own parents. Okay. Even if the husband is afflicted with disease or whatever difficulties befall him, she should share the sufferings and serve him with all love and dedication. Okay, we are talking about a day and age where these things doesn't exist. Today we are in the Kali Yuga. In fact, everything that we're talking, the wife should do, it is the husband who has to do to the wife. That is the age we have entered. So let us not fool ourselves. It's very funny, because when I read, there is no wife who is like this, and there is no husband who is that sage Agastya Muni exists on this planet Earth. So let us not even talk about this. This doesn't apply in today's day and age. To find someone like this is very difficult. I must say this, because today's marriage or today's this husband-wife relationship is everything, because it's a contract, it's a mutual convenience. They want something, you scratch my back and I scratch your back. That is how life works today. So there's always a hidden agenda. There is a motivation for why they want to be together. So it's very weird. And also it's funny that today it's no more, it's a husband is a man, the husband can be a woman, the husband and wife can be a woman or a man. So again, we are in a very different age where none of these things qualify. Even if the husband is afflicted with disease or whatever difficulties befall him, she should share the sufferings and serve him with all love and dedication. Tapasvi then said that when the woman loses her husband, there are shastric injunctions as to the disciplines of life she should strictly observe. She should realize that with her husband's loss, she should take too many austere disciplines. And this is again a very important thing. Why the women in those days were asked to take, become very, just follow the path of spiritual or become very chaste, is because once her husband dies, then sometimes, not sometimes, it was a norm that besides the first yuga, in the second yuga, the deterioration started happening. So if you don't do this austere practices or disciplines, you don't follow them, then you will be looked upon badly by the society. And the men would try to either kidnap you, rape you, or do sort of all sorts of things, and you're not being given the respect in that community. Why? Because they always believe the husband is superior than the wife. And one of the examples which we are talking here of Lopamudra is she was much great sage and than Agastya Muni himself. That is why it said she was an example for all women. So we have to become like that. It is extremely important. And you cannot be treated in a bad way. Like I always tell people, women's empowerment doesn't mean somebody is giving you that empowerment from outside. You have to empower yourself. My Krishna Guruji teaches all his women disciples that you are the best version of yourself. Become that. You have to become the best version of yourself. There is nobody else you have to emulate. And most important, empower yourself, empower the God within you. Why are you thinking that I am incapable, I can't do that? He'll say every woman is a rotlu. Sorry. They're always crying. Oh, look, my life is bad. My husband treated like this. My children are treating me like this. I become a doormat. You name it, even at office. My boss is giving me so much of trouble. Why can't you empower? Why are you feeling that you are incapable? Stand up and fight for who you are. You have all this power. You are that Lopamudra. What is not in you? You have to unravel that hidden potentials. And this is what we fail to understand. And then we succumb to this societal norms. You have to break all that and take your position. Become that Kali Ma. This is Kali Yuga. This is the age of Kali. Rise and conquer this world. The Tapasvi then, okay, we finished this. So this ends the 31st chapter of Shri Guru Charitra describing Pativrata Nirupan. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent and the ever-responsive Guru Nath. So we have 15 more minutes. We'll begin with the next chapter. So this is chapter 32, Triumph over Death with Guru's Grace. This chapter describes how Savitri's husband regained his life by Guru Nath's grace. Siddhamuni continued with the narrative. This is in continuation with the story of Savitri and her husband. This Tapasvi described to Savitri all the duties that pertain to women in their family life. He also described the duties that pertain to them after one loses the husband. He said that a woman who has lost her husband will have to adjust herself to the new situation. In grief, in olden times, women used to enter the funeral pyre along with the husband's body, which was called sati or sahagamana. They believed that life with one's husband was a relationship of continuous companionship, not only in this world but in the life beyond as well. It denoted both worldly as well, or actually even much more, spiritual companionship between the wife and husband. See, what was achieved in the past, that's exactly what I said. It is more a spiritual companionship. It is not the material worldly lust and desire or greed that we are driven by today. In those times, if you say, oh, the Rishi had born so many children, Dattatreya was not born like the way you think the marriage was consumed. It is just a divine vision with a blessing. They've just manifested that child, the children in their life. So they were pure, absolutely pure. There was no carnal acts being performed. There was nothing called lust or desire, greed over there. It was nothing like that. They followed a very disciplined spiritual path. and that they were always supporting in that spiritual wheel of both the husband and the wife. That was their goal. So, okay, it denoted both worldly as well as, or actually even much more, spiritual companionship between the wife and the husband. According to the belief, a Pativrata who mounted the funeral pyre along with her husband's body certainly attained liberation. There was a reason for doing all these things, but of course, this is not an accepted practice. After, I think, the second yuga, this practice was not done because it's not correct, so you don't continue with it. The only reason why they used to do is, like I said, after the second yuga, the woman was not respected well enough after her husband dies. And then what do? They, when the kings were there, if the king died, and somebody else would conquer that kingdom, and then they will treat that queen in a very bad manner. They would have to become a prostitute or something else, so their life had to be was miserable. So they used to follow this kind of a dharma path. But beyond a point, I think things changed and it evolved. But yes, the women has always been subjected to a lot of these kind of I wouldn't say unrighteousness, some of the I don't know what to call it, but it is not a right practice. So we always have to treat everybody in the right manner, but that's never the case. That's what we said. When the power is there, when the ego comes, you abuse the power, you take into doing wrong actions, which is against the laws of dharma. That is why Lord Shri Krishna manifests time and again to establish dharma and protect the meek and the poor, and especially his disciples and devotees, and destroy the adharma or the evil propensities, the demonic people from this world. But please remember, no matter he does that, there's always going to be these kind of people who are going to be there. So that is the way how the universe has been defined, because someday the destruction has to happen. It's just a play. But what is being taught to us is, you have to be good. It is not about somebody else. We are not here to change the world. You have to change, which means you have to be your good self and go towards the path of God realization and redeem your life and do the purpose for why you have been born in this world. That is all you have to focus, and don't get into too many nitty-gritties. It is not relevant for us. But it was intended to be a totally voluntary and subjective act undertaken wholeheartedly. So nobody can force the wife to go and die. It's not. If she chooses, she can, but it is not a forcible act. It was totally voluntary and subjective act undertaken wholeheartedly. Nobody would force, but yes, in some cases, yeah, people would force. You have to die. There are a lot of people who have gone through this kind of torture, and also not just this one place. I remember reading in some other religion about a practice that's followed in their country, and this woman, after the husband dies, is forced to marry somebody else so that she can get that wealth or live in the society, and she goes through a torturous life. People have such weird practices that it's aghast, it's disgusting. I don't know who has made them to do such things. And then they destroy the people around. They abuse the women. They do a lot of things. I don't know what they're going to get. Please remember, these kind of people are going to the hellish region. They will not even be born as some kida makoda. Worse than that, they have to become some ghouls who will never get released ever. They cannot have a human birth after that. This is the kind of life you're sanctioning yourself. Why do you want to? Just live a God-pleasing life and don't get into all kinds of things. It's not relevant. It was not to be a matter to be forced upon the woman, but one based on her conviction and her own volition and choice. So it has to be from her heart. It is she who decides it. I don't know, many a time we believe that, oh, because someone is my wife, someone is my husband, you're my daughter, well, I have the right to take a decision. And the woman is not been given a choice to express what she wants, what she doesn't want. It's just a force, a dominating factor. But today, I'm sorry, every woman has to rise above, to take a decision, make a choice of your life, what you want to do, and go achieve it. There is nobody to stop you except you yourself. Why should some father, mother, brother, Why should some other person make decision for you or take the decision for you? Stand up and decide for your life. Be responsible of your life. Go do what you want to. What is stopping you? It is you yourself who are stopping your progress. So don't let anybody decide for you. You have to decide for what you want in your life. There were exemptions or exceptions provided for regarding Sahagamana. A woman carrying and a nursing mother were forbidden to take a Sahagamana. If a widow choose to live her life as per Shastric injunctions and tradition, she was not needed to take the Sahagamana. If she lived a pure and austere life during her widowhood, she was supposed to earn as much merit as she would have got through Sahagamana. The disciplines to be observed by a widow as per Shastric injunctions or tradition were described by the Tapasvi. She was not supposed to wear the headdress. Her hair were to be removed. It had to be clean shaved. She was expected to take meal only once a day. Observe Chandrayan Vrata, that is, increase and decrease of food intake as per the phases of the moon. Restrict her food and give up the comforts of life to whatever extent possible. Take to austere habits, occasionally go on pilgrimage to holy places, perform tarpan, food and water offerings to the soul of the departed husband. If she is without a son, observe the bathing rituals in the months of Vaishak, Magh and Kartika. Offer Grit Dan, that is ghee, Jal Kum Dan, that is tumbler, Deep Dan, that is lamp, food, clothes, fruits, etc. in the name of her husband in charity to Brahmins. Discard bangles and wear white sari. Take only a subordinate position in the household. Abstain from demanding too much and from exercising her authority, and abide by the will of her son and respect her wishes. It was understood that the woman would surrender and transfer her responsibilities of the household to her son and daughter-in-law and devote more time in the memory of her husband and contemplation of God. See, again, if you look at everything that is mentioned, yeah, it's a little complicated, but what it is talking about is you have to live an austere life. They're telling you completely, just be lost in the divine alone. It is to give up your material worldly existence and go on the path of spiritual and attain that spiritual weal. It is not about thinking about other man and getting married and going into that lust and greed. And that is what is happening in today's age. We are all in that complete degeneration. I wouldn't say that. There are people, I would say maybe 1 in a million, who follow a righteous path, who follow the path saying, no, I will focus on my children and I will be the single mother and also go and attain my own spiritual will. There are people who do that, just that we don't know. But what is the norm today? Oh yeah, who cares? My husband died, I will go and marry another one. People change, husband and wives like they change the garments. That is the age we are in. But in this, the whole observances are told so that you can attain divinity. It's more like a spiritual path. Why are they saying shave your head or anything? Because they don't want that woman to get the desire to be with someone else. I don't want to feel, wanting to enjoy my life. It's not about lust and greed. That is what is a practice. What do you do in asceticism? What does the sannyasi do? He shaves his head, right? The same method is told here. And it's not wrong the way we look at it. When the husband is gone, then you're finished with that worldly duties. Then they're saying, get into spiritual and attain your spiritual will, which is the right thing. But of course, it's not an easy thing. They're saying you live an austere life. Practice what is prescribed in the Vedas and Shastras and live austere life. It doesn't mean you're put to torture, but the way the society would use this knowledge, they would misconstrue and torture these widows, which is not correct. The whole meaning is not understood by the people. Why? Because they have not learned from the real master. There's some idiots or panditjis, the priest who tell the scholarly knowledge, and they would torture these women just because their husband is lost or whatever. The same thing a man doesn't go through. The same torture the man is not been asked to go through. Why is that? Only a woman has to go through. Just because she's a woman? That's all the questions you have to ask. Is it what is being mentioned in the Vedas and Shastras? No. Who has told you that the interpretation is what it means here? The interpretation is a spiritual path we are talking about. You're talking about sannyasa ashrama dharma. And what is that we think, oh, the woman she shouldn't have hair, she shouldn't do this. It means, they have completely misconstrued that whole meaning. It is talking about getting into becoming a sannyasin, or you enter into an asceticism. And what is being mentioned in the last? It's talking about surrendering all your responsibilities and transfer, to your son and daughter-in-law, and devote more time in the memory of her husband and contemplation of God. Imagine if your husband is Agastya Muni, he's a wise man. So isn't it equal to meditating on God himself? When you are lost in your husband, so you attain God realization. That is the meaning here. But how the world has misconstrued this whole beautiful, the whatever the path is completely wrong. And then what you do, you torture these women. Aren't you sanctioning yourself enough karma with those people? You have to go through in some other life of yours. Be ready for that. So don't ever mess around with some things that you don't know. That is why you have to refrain and stay away from all of this. In the above way, sage Brihaspati narrated all the Pativrata Achara dharmas to the rishis and gods who had assembled at Agastya Ashram. And now the tapasvi, that is Sri Narasimha Saraswati in disguise, recounted the same to the woman who had lost her husband and who sought advice and guidance as to the duties and mode of life for the woman in her different stages of life. Thus, the tapasvi tried to console and comfort her in her bereavement and advised her to pick up courage to face the irretrievable situation and pursue her duties as ordained for woman, but ever remembering the transitorness of life, all life, and the eternity of the spirit. It means the transient. This life is only transient. So he's saying, ever remembering this life is only transient, but the real thing that you need to remember to eternity, which is always there, is the spirit. The woman was very much touched by the solicitude of the tapasvi for her ultimate welfare. She expressed to him that her mind was much pacified, and she profusely thanked him for dispelling her ignorance and freeing her from the meshes of illusion of the mundane life. She told him that he was her all mother, father, and God. She, however, said in a determined and resolute manner that she had chosen to do sahagamana along with the body of her husband. The tapasvi gave her bhasma and told her to besmear her husband's forehead with it. He gave her 4 rudrakshas to be tied to the husband's ears and the body before it was consigned to flames. She was also asked to perform Maharudra Abhisheka before the cremation, and thereafter visit the Sangam and seek the blessings of Guru Nath before the final ceremony. The woman now got all the preparations done for the funeral and her sahagamana. She invited the priests and asked them to start the funeral sacraments with the chants of the prescribed mantras. She took her bath, adorned herself with all her ornaments and the bright red kumkum mark on her forehead. She took the dead body near the river, carrying also the fire in her hand. All the men and women of Gangapur gathered there, hearing of the sad event. They were all moved to tears because the woman was so young, hardly 16 years of age, and so beautiful. They were trying to persuade her not to do the sahagamana, saying that it was not proper. It was not proper. They said, for a young girl of her age, she was almost a child still. But the woman adamantly stuck to her resolve. She got the firewood piled up. She called the Sabasins, means the married women, there and gave away whatever she had. She requested them to bless her and further to send word to her in-laws that her husband and herself were doing very well at Gangapur and that none should let them know the truth as it would break their hearts. When she was about to mount the funeral pyre, she remembered suddenly that the instruction of the tapasvi. She tied the rudrakshas given by him, 2 to the earlobes and two on the chest of her husband's body. She applied the bhasma on his forehead. Then she rushed to the Sangam to seek Guru Nath's blessing. before taking to Sahagamana as previously advised by the Tapasvi. The woman approached Sangam and saw Gurunath seated under the Autumber tree. She fell prostrate at his feet. The Guru blessed that she would soon be the mother of good children. Suputra Prapti Rastu. The people who accompanied her told Gurunath that she had lost her husband. Can you believe the power of your Guru's grace? And she had come to seek his blessing for her Sahagamana along with her husband's body. Shri Narasimha Saraswati told them to bring the dead body to him at the Sangam. The body was brought just at the time, for Brahmins came there to offer their worship to Shri Narasimha Saraswati. Gurunath asked the Brahmins to sprinkle Charan Tirtha on the dead body. This was done, and lo, the dead body rose to life as if from sleep. The revived man noticed his wife, whose face lit up with wonder and joy at seeing the unbelievable, and asked her how they happened to be there. The woman told all that had happened, how Gurunath retrieved him from the realm of death and restored to her the Mangalya, and thus protected. Mangalya means, it's your husband's life, and thus protected the lives of both of them. Both of them fell at Gurunath's feet and bathed them with their tears, which were welling out from the innermost depths of their heart. What does it say? Your Guru is very compassionate. What did he say? All your problems will be redressed, all your grievances will be redressed, but he's going to put you to severe test to see where you stand. But he's going to do only good to you. You always have to have faith in your Gurudev. Never doubt him. Never have any mistrust. No, never let your mind instigate you against your Gurudev. Have absolute faith in him. He always cares for everybody's well-being. Only the Gurus have the power to, change the destiny of a person, and that is only in the event when they will want to. If they know there is a certain reason why they have to change the destiny, they will do it, but they will alter the destiny and the karma. Only the Gurus can do it. They have the power to alter somebody else's karma, but nobody else knows why, where, how, when, and what is the way in which it is being done. And this secret is never told to anybody. But here it says your Guru can do anything he wants in this world, but he will do that which is right for you, and he knows when to grant you what. But you need to have absolute faith. Never ever doubt your master. He wants to see how much effort you put. You think he can't grant you, he can give you everything. There is nothing that he can't give you, but he wants to see your effort. He wants to see whether you're worthy of that or not. So be deserving and go through the test and have this faith and conviction. Magic will happen. God himself will come and bless you and stand in front of you and do everything for you, because this world is just an illusory. It is Maya. So what can he not do? He can change and alter anything he wants. But usually, please remember, 99.99% the Gurudevs will never alter the destiny, and they'll never interfere in somebody else's karma. Please remember. But that the one thing that they can do is the Sanchit and Agami karma, they can destroy it. But Prarabdha karma can only be cushioned. And when you meet your Guru and when you have your Guru in your life, he always cushions your Prarabdha karma. So don't make him suffer more. So please be very grateful to you, this great master who is ever compassionate, and sing his praises and glory. With that, we thus ends the 32nd chapter of Sri Guru Charitra, describing how faith triumphed over death with Gurunath's grace. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent and the ever-responsive Gurunath. Thank you for joining Sri Guru Charitra Satsang. See you all on Monday morning. Wishing you all a very happy Friday and a very happy weekend. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunathanataya Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.